Shalom. First and foremost, I'd like to give all praises and highest honors to Yahweh, Hashem Yahweh Shai. Yahweh being the name of the Heavenly Father in Paleo-Ancient Hebrew, and Yahweh Shai being the name of the one you ignorantly call Jesus Christ in Paleo-Ancient Hebrew. Double honors to the apostle elders of Great Millstone that rule well. Salutations to you brothers that preach, teach, and prophesy His word in truth and sincerity. As we put our lives on the line in these last days to bring you this raw and this uncut truth. It's the brother Ariaga from the Grand Rapids, Michigan camp here with another nifty lesson. All right, headed back on this lesson because me and my brother did a video on it, but for some reason it did save. So let's go back to it. This individual topic is just going into how, in this day and age where women's rights and women's lives are such a big thing on the ballot and my body, my choice and what have you, where has that gotten us in this country? Look at all the transgenderism, homosexuality, living my truth. It's madness. All of that came in on the heels of women's rights. And mind you, women's rights came in on the heels of civil rights. Right. So since we had to fight for the right to be seen as civil citizens as so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Natives, then women had to have these rights, these certain rights to where they could, it was later on to vote and to work. And then later on, it came all the way down to my body, my choice and Roe versus Wade and them fighting for the right to have abortions. And, in this country, women have more rights than men. For example, all a woman has to say is a man did something to him. Oh, I was raped by him. We were both under the influence, but I was raped by him because, she doesn't want to be seen as a whore or something. And bam. You got a whole trial set up and the man is imprisoned until he's found otherwise, whether he's guilty or not guilty, right? And the whole time, even if he's found guilty, guess what? Nothing happens to the woman. Or if he's found not guilty, nothing happens to the woman, right? So, nonetheless, to say this, most of the custody that's given in this country is to women over their children. It went from, what was that law called? The maternity law. I forgot what it was. I forgot what it was called, but it changed the language over into in the interest, the best interest of the children is what the court says. And they use that to, basically give all rights to the mother every time a separation is made from the mother and the father, even if the woman is found unfit in certain ways. A lot of time, man has to fight for it. I get a lawyer, and still, it's a good amount of times where the woman will receive custody of the kids. Now, mind you, when we look at society and how it is today, these youths are out of control, and I'm especially speaking of these so-called Negroes and Latinos and Natives and the streets and gangs and what have you. And what happened is because there's an absence of fathers in the household, and, these liberalist rights that they fought for to say that men were abusing and oppressing women and what have you. And then fast forward to today, all of this alleged abuse and suppression, you see all of these women out here now that they've been set free. The scriptures say, allow not a woman to gad abroad, and what are they doing? They're going about being whores in this society and justifying it and making people respect it, like for God's sakes in this society, being a porn star is an occupation, mainly a woman star. She's an actress and all of this shit, right? But it's complete madness, right? But anyway, jumping forward, it says some parents in Virginia are giving away their teens, right? And yes, they are able to give custody of their teens up because if they can't handle them, they're too unruly, or whatever it may be, they can give custody up to the state, right? Or if they have too many children, or they just stressed out and they can't take it anymore, and what have you. Well, you fought to have the children in their custody, and I'm talking about this mainly towards these women who have these fatherless households because they were unhappy. I'm not talking about individuals that literally flee from the father because he really was an abusive psychopath. But at the same time, you let that man sleep with you and have multiple children. And it wasn't because you was scared, it's because you was enjoying yourself. Okay? Stop the cap. Anyway, fast forward, we see this bull right here, this type of trash. And this is why they took the fathers out of the household, because they knew the system would eventually come to what it is today, in which now they have the right to go forward and claim your children, right? I remember back in the day, they would have, children would run away, and it's not because, they were being abused at home, but because they felt like they were treated unfairly. A lot of teenagers go through the hormonal stage and they get angry, always telling me what to do and making me eat. I'm talking about that type, not the ones that's not including the ones that were literally being physically and mentally, emotionally abused. No, no, no. I'm talking about the ones that had that tantrum. And so now, if they choose to be a ward of the state and they want to get away from their parents, they can do that. The government supports that. I'm gonna pull that article up right after this. But check this out.
Voluntarily giving up their kids as they get older, close to being teens or in their teen years. It is a huge problem in Virginia, specifically in our part of the Commonwealth. It's called relief of custody. Hundreds have been filed in just the past 5 years. 10 News investigates what's going on and the group working to find solutions. Thought of basically giving up your kid is, wow. I can't think about that.
Right. I mean, to think of a parent being faced with the decision of, how do I keep my younger kids safe? How do I keep myself safe? How do I keep the child, the teenager that I love safe? And feeling like they're failing at that. What a feeling that must be, right? That they feel like they have no choice.
But that's the choice parents are faced with. There's an increase of parents filing for relief of custody. When a parent decides they're unable to take care of their child, they ask the court to relieve them of custody. Typically, the child would then go into foster care. Renee Brown is the CEO and president of DePaul Community Resources. She's part of a group the state put together to try and solve the issue.
They're usually in crisis mode. They have usually tried a lot of different things. They feel like they have no choice. Usually, there's a safety issue. They are either afraid of their child, afraid of the choices their child is making.
It's happening in families with limited resources to upper middle class families who have a lot of resources and insurance, and nothing seems to be working. People don't realize how big of a problem this is, especially here.
In the western part of the state, we have about 20% of the population, but we have probably close to 50% of the relief of custodies.
Eric Reynolds is the director of the Office of Children's Ombudsman, who's also looking for solutions.
What parent would want to be relieved of custody of their own kid? It's highly unusual, but when you look at the situations, when it's grandma, when it's an adoptive family that doesn't have the history of that child, when the foreign adoptions, when they don't have the medical or trauma history of that child, and all of a sudden, things start happening. So you can understand the predicament they're in.
Voluntarily giving up their kids.
And the majority of them, now, mind you, for outside of situations like that, the majority of them is women, that have custody that are not able to control their children. Now, when the father's in the home and they discipline them, oh, he's being too rough. He's hurting them. They're abusing them. No, we're beating your ass, like the Bible say, and disciplining you. I'm not talking about balling up your fists and punching them all in the face and, punching them in the throat and shit like that and beating them till they bloody with a belt, you know what I'm saying, and like they're a slave. No, all of those, outside of all of those, I'm talking about discipline in general. All right. Let's say you spare the rod, you hate your child in the scriptures and Proverbs, right? And when they saw that, they used that as a weapon. Oh, he's always hitting them and beating them, and he's abusive to them. When your children are not going to be well behaved because you tell them to stop and don't repeatedly, and you keep yelling at them and shit like that. That's not going to work. And at the end of the day, you try to talk to them like they're adult. Now, little Franklin, you got to stop. This is not trustworthy behavior. All of this dumb shit, man. Okay, this is what they teach you now. And then, oh, you're abusing your children, you was whooping them and stuff. Well, we're going to have to take your children, put them in the state. You're going to have to go through parenting classes. And they tell you all these dumbass, and these Edomites are the main ones that do not have control of their children. Because when they explain from basically the families that are a part of that, all the way from the lower impoverished class to the middle class to the upper class is having these issues, yes. Because one thing is for certain, these are weak ass times. And without the fathers being in the household, there are a bunch of weak ass men being raised and they act, violent and foolish and they act, like women, to be honest. Because a grown man that is emotional like a woman, that is a disturbing sight because there's more acts of violence that have come forth, right? No discipline in their life or, nothing to look up to like a father figure or what have you. They can easily cause these things. Well, let me show you something. This is how we dealt with it in the ancient world. All right. Somebody will say, this is harsh. That's too harsh. I mean, we didn't have issues like this in the ancient world for a reason. Because if we did, we nipped it in the bud. This is Deuteronomy 21 and 18. If a man have a stubborn and rebellious son, which will not obey the voice of his father or the voice of his mother, and that when they have chastened him, will not hearken unto them, then shall his father and his mother lay hold on him and bring him out unto the elders of his city and unto the gate of his place, and shall say unto the elders of his city, this our, our son is stubborn and rebellious. He will not obey our voice. He is a glutton and a drunkard. And all the men of the city shall stone him with stones, that he die. So shalt thou put evil away from among you, and all Israel shall hear and fear. Now you got a lot of people that'll be like, "Oh man, that's too much. That's too harsh." Listen, man, understand. Well, hold on, check this scripture. All right, so check this scripture out. People go, "Oh, they're just innocent children. They don't know what's going on." And all right, this is Proverbs 20 and 11. Even the child is known by his doings, whether his work be pure or whether it be right. All right, let me read that again. Even a child is known by his doings. Look, some of these children you can just see. Unfortunately, when they come out the womb, they just on a mission to be a spawn of Satan. All right, especially these Edomite children. It's just in them. Yeah, a child that is not well nurtured, they develop that behavior issue and is never addressed, and they turn into a menace of society. So it says, even a child is known by his doings. He killing cats and doing, what I'm saying? Like, what was that? Who was that? Ted Bundy. He was out there killing. Like they saw that, when he was as a child, they went into the psychological evaluation and showed that, there was one thing I had seen, and it was just talking about how, your child might be a psychopath or a future murderer, something to that extent. And one of them was, as a child, they love harming animals, hurting them, stabbing, killing them, just doing crazy shit to them all the time. That's just their MO, right? That is a sign that your child has certain issues, mental issues, and if they're not addressed immediately, they will turn into a straight menace to society when they get older. Even the child is known by his doings, whether his work be pure or whether it be right. The hearing ear and the seeing eye, Yahweh has made even both of them, right? So now you got a lot of people that's just trying to give them leeway and all these children, they don't do any of that, right? Hold on. You can't spank your children. That's that Edomite philosophy, okay? No, you're not supposed to beat them, but you whoop their ass, as we call it, as Jake called it. It says, he that spareth, Proverbs 13 and 24, he that spareth his rod hateth his son, but he that loveth him chasteneth him betimes. Okay, and I'm not talking about balling up your fists and he always going to school with two black eyes and all this other shit. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about discipline, not standing there yelling and talking and threatening your children and they don't ever do none of this stuff. Okay. Proverbs 29:15. The rod and reproof give wisdom, but a child left to himself bringing his mother to shame. Okay? Hey, that's self-explanatory. So why you think they out here bringing shame to their mothers and their fathers? Because they don't have that element of discipline. That's wrong now and all of this. They used to whoop children's asses in school. Guess what? They didn't have no problem with them acting up in class. It's and then they would turn around and get their ass whooped when they got home. Let me call y'all. Yeah, we had to whoop them in class with that paddle. As soon as you get home, you're gonna get your ass whooped. You know what I'm saying? Those are all deterrences from this type of issue. It says, correct, Proverbs 29:17, correct thy son, and he shall give thee rest. Yea, he shall give delight unto thy soul. Okay? Period. So a lot of the times the father is taken out because he is the disciplinarian. He is the one that's going to enforce these things, right? Hold up. One more. Proverbs 19:18. Chasten thy son while there is hope, and let not thy soul spare for his crying. Period. Okay? All of that counseling and talking and all of that is getting you nowhere. And now we're in this situation as we speak. I wanted to show you that too. That article, it says they also did this in California, right? Mind you, they're doing this because they want to make your children wards of the state. They want custody over your children. That's what it's always been, by taking the father out the house. Now the mom has to work, so the child is left alone. They see the teacher more than they see their parents often when they're part of this school system. Okay? So this has always been the point, is to gain custody and control of your children so they can mold them and make them into what they want them to be in this society, another cog. Not to mention, they do that, and what happens to a lot of these small children? They get sexually abused in this system, man. The California Runaway Homeless and Exploited Youth Act is a state law that enables California to provide support and care services to minors who have run away from home, are experiencing homelessness, or at the risk of being exploited, essentially offering a framework for programs aimed at protecting and assisting vulnerable youth in these situations. And they use vulnerable very loosely. And he always spanking me and making me eat my vegetables, and yeah, they can utilize that quickly outside of, because they always pervert something that's supposed to be for good. Because outside of that being, the latter, when it says, they run away because they're experiencing homelessness or being exploited, especially sexually, of course, but then they take them and put them into a system where they'll be sexually exploited anyway. Okay. But I got some more videos. But regardless, services offered. These services may include temporary housing, crisis intervention, family reunification. And one of the ones I have read was they would put them up in a hotel and basically, ration money out to them and basically, give them the ability to what is it, to raise themselves. Okay. Like that was the whole point in that, was to do it in that fashion, right? Hold on. So when you take the father out the household and it's subject to a hood rat mother, all right, whether the father was a nigga or not, mind you, they control. That's my body, my choice, right? This is what you get right here. And I've seen this, I see this more times than not in my people, man. She said, go jump up with me, daddy, give me frog. She said, them dogs with no collar, what my dog be? She give me One more time. Know the words and everything. Yeah, this is what happens. And then they be like, oh, they get a little bit older. I don't know what to do with them. So it was all cute, them cussing and talking shit and when they was little. And then it gets to this point right here. Gets to this point right here. And then they say, oh, I don't know what to do. I can't tell them what to do. And I just give them to the state. And then they are subject to all kind of shit in the state. Look at this right here.
Begin tonight with a story that you'll only see here on Fox. An employee with Child Protective Services is caught on camera telling a 14-year-old girl in foster care to become a prostitute.
That's right, and this girl is one of hundreds of kids in CPS custody living in hotels all over the state.
Wouldn't they remove a child from a parent that told them? I mean, she was basically encouraging a 14-year-old girl to become a prostitute.
And giving her an incentive to do so and almost a threat of not having her needs being met if she didn't do what this woman very explicitly told her to do.
If the parent, was to do something like this to my child, I would be bashed. I would be called a horrible parent. I would lose my kids.
Basley filed a formal complaint with CPS.
This should not happen to girls in their care. This should not happen. This is unacceptable.
Hey, there it is. Oh, yeah, and trust your children to the state so they can eventually be told to be hoes and shit. If you want to get that bread, girl, you better stop using that gold mine between your legs and all of that type of shit. CPS. See, this is why they want the father out of the picture, because the next video is going to show you the type of shit that a father would do when something ain't correct. All right.
I thought he would have, he got the police under his hand, and it's a powerful person, but he don't want to be sent. All right, man. Sounds like a plan. Nigga, you was a motherfucker. Dead me. You was a dead man. The moment you took my daughter in that room and you couldn't tell me, you couldn't show me a fucking video or no motherfucking, nigga, this is for any motherfucking worker that think that they finna motherfucking put my daughter in a motherfucking room and think they ain't gotta talk to me. You was a dead man. In a motherfucking room and think they ain't gotta talk to me. You was a dead man.
Release right now. You want to go back?
I'm already ready to go to jail.
Go ahead, call the cops.
I'll be waiting.
Anybody else think it's okay to take the room?
Out of the hospital after nearly getting choked to death at work in Mesa.
ABC 15's at
Adam Mincer is hearing from DCS tonight, and he joins us live in studio. And Adam, this whole incident was live streamed. Javier and Katie, the video is graphic. We're not showing it on TV, but this incident has us asking, does more need to be done to protect DCS employees? For 2.5 minutes, Mesa police say DeAndre Johnson was choking a DCS employee.
I thought he would have.
And what happened was they took him and his daughter into the room. This DCS worker, the CPS worker, looked like he was zesty. He's like a homosexual. And we know the history of, sexual acts committed against children in CPS, homosexual or otherwise, right? And it happens more than it is reported. See, this is why they wanted the fathers out of the way, because we're not going to play that shit. See, we're the only men on this planet that will give our lives for our children, the real fathers, okay? And that's more of them that is being given credit for. And this is why they want us out of the household, because they want complete control of your children. So basically what happened was this girl, she told her, after she came out of that room with him, he don't know what happened, what was said, but she didn't want to go to school anymore. And she loved school. She was scared. She was basically traumatized from what happened in that room. And nobody would tell this man what took place. They wouldn't let him see the footage, nothing. And so he was like, okay. And the dude was just talking shit and disrespecting him and not, communicate what he did and what was said. And look, he took matters into his own hands. Was that wise? Probably not. No. Well, this is the very reason why they wanted the fathers out of the way. Okay.
Mama, please! Don't show me, please! I'm going. No, yes, I am! Shut the fuck up! Please! 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 No! Okay, Chief. No.
Yeah, and you see what happened? You see the type of behavior that is brought out from these children who lack that discipline that the scripture says, that's leading to them and these fatherless households to be the mothers to sign them over to state custody. This is the reason why. All right, this is what you get. Now look at the police involved. Let me tell you something. My children know better. All right, you take your ass up anywhere out in public with me acting a fool. You know I'm gonna cut into you like some like a hot knife into some motherfucking fresh, warm out the oven chocolate cake. All right, bread still hot. Do you understand? I'm gonna cut into you because you were not gonna embarrass me. I don't give a damn what the circumstances is in this situation, because kid goes crazy at AT&T store over phone service. I will tear your ass up. You understand me? You ain't gonna play them games. Shit. All right. And this is the last video I want to show. This brother makes a good point. A woman records herself giving kids up for adoption. And basically the whole video, I have the other video too, the other footage, of her justifying it and whatever. But this brother made a very good point. Okay. And I wanted to go ahead and let him cook, man. So check this out.
They got a video going around of a young woman who's been a parent since she was 15 years old. She got 2 children, one 11, one 3. She's recording the whole process of her giving her children back to the state, putting them in foster care. What? Bro, what are you talking about, man? I'm trying to get them to the dad, because I'm not gonna lie, y'all. I'm over it. I do everything by my fucking self, and I've been doing it for years. Since I was 15. I'm literally 27. I'm about to be 28 this year. And, these niggas don't help. They don't send no Christmas cards, birthday gifts, presents, literally not a damn thing. And as well, okay, my oldest son is 11, and my daughter's is about to be 3. So you mean to tell me out of 3 years and out of 11 years, y'all lazy-ass niggas still ain't come up yet? I've been doing it by myself.
Mind you, you let these lazy ass niggas keep hitting your shit raw as hell. Just keep raw dogging you. And guess what? Your eyes was rolling in the back of your head and your mouth was open. You was drooling and guzzling and orgasming. You see what I'm saying? But now it's his fault. You let this nigga that's not shit do what he wanted to your body. But now, they ain't shit. Interesting.
Since I was 15, I'm done. I'm over it. I'm in 2 different colleges. I'm working. I'm overwhelmed. I'm done. They are into, cause they like, cause I told you we watch documentaries and stuff, so they are into a lot of Greek mythology, and like Indian myths and folklore, so. I like Greek mythology. Yes, so if you have to try to open the light or something, and I made sure I told them that earlier. I made sure I told them that there's nothing wrong and they didn't do anything wrong, and I don't want them to think that they're not enough because they're everything I've ever wanted. I'm coming back for them. I don't care. I'm telling you respectfully from my mouth. Whatever hoops you guys throw at me, no matter how you guys try to spin it, I'm coming back for my kids, and I am going to get my kids. So I blocked all my sisters. I blocked all my family because I don't like none of them bitches. I don't give a fuck about none of them bitches. I'm cool. I cut my ties with family. I cut my ties, obviously, unfortunately, with my kids. I don't have a boyfriend, but the nigga I was fucking, I cut my ties with him. If the dads didn't fucking care, why the fuck do I gotta care? And it's sad because I do fucking care. I obviously fucking care. I love the fuck out of them. And I'm gonna come back for my babies, and I'm gonna get them the...
She say the daddies don't help. She say the in-laws, the family members don't help. She been doing it on her own. She got 2 different jobs and she go to school, right? For about 3 to 4 minutes, she go on this long-ass rant. How nobody there to help her with her dreams and they taking off and she just need to focus and shit like that, right? So in my mind, I'm like, first of all, how you find time to have 2 jobs and go to school? You got the 11-year-old and the 3-year-old. I'm not saying you should just totally restrict your life, but it should be limited. It should be limited because these kids take a larger investment than what you're willing to give. But nobody never want to talk about that, right? We promote individualism and freedom amongst self so hard these days. Be solo and selfish, right? It's affecting our kids. So you got this woman. She give her kids back to the state. And before she give her kids back to the state, she claims she gave the baby fathers till 5 o'clock to come pick the children up, or she was going to give them up, right? She even told family and friends, hey, if you want to take the benefits of having my kids, get the food stamps, put them on SSI, which is the highest form of negligence and abuse, right? After she solicit and auction her kids off to the highest bidder, which was the state. She claimed after she get her shit together, she coming back home. This hit me in the heart because not only was I in state custody, after I got adopted, I was given back to the state. So I done seen different forms of people claiming they don't have what it takes to lead you in the right direction as a child, right? And that may be true, but why can't you understand how abusive this is? Why can't you understand how cold-hearted and destructive you're being towards these kids? Why can't you see that? You could be on this woman's side all you want, and you can say, oh, they ain't saying nothing to the daddies. I'm saying something to her and the daddies. I feel like y'all both laid down. Y'all both had this child. Y'all both are responsible for it in the story. I pray for them kids mentally, spiritually, physically, because you don't know what go on in these group homes, in these emergency shelters, in these respite homes, in these adoption facilities. You don't know what goes on, but yet you feel it's the best resolution for these 2 children. Bruh. It's ultimately your responsibility to see a kid through once you create them. But who am I, right? I was laying next to these people. I was watching these situations myself. I was in those DCFS offices when these kids were being dropped off. I saw the effects. I know the effects. And I know it hurt. And I know it crushed them. And that's cold. But y'all let me know how y'all feel about this woman abandoning her kids and giving them to the state because she feels like she can't do it, but yet she can work 2 jobs and go to school. It's your boy OG Cayano for more content.
And there's gonna be a lot of women that come to the aid. Well, you don't know what it's like because you ain't never been. Oh shit, here we go. That justification process. No. Look, my mom went through hell and high water, but she made sure she hung on to her children and she made it through it. See, what it is the women of this era are much weaker, and the men are much weaker than the last era. In the era, and those parents and children are much weaker than the era before that. Each generation, that bloodline gets weaker and weaker because things get more and more convenient in society, right? And just because it's convenient, that makes everybody more reluctant on taking care of their duties like they used to back in the day. All right, they put them into a situation where they want freedom to live and have these luxuries like they see their friends and people on social media and TV have, instead of having that responsibility, that duty of taking care of your seed. Once again, I'm going to blame her because she allowed these not shit niggas to hit her, to go inside of her. Deuteronomy 28:32. Thy sons and thy daughters shall be given unto another people, and thine eyes shall look and fail with longing for them all the day long, and there shall be no might in thine hands. Right? Because what you're going to see is a trend start where they're just going to pass another law, make it easier and easier to take your children away from you. Deuteronomy 28:34, so that thou shalt be mad for the sight of thine eyes, which thou shalt see. Right. And hey, seeing this type of shit, if it doesn't provoke you, doesn't disappoint you, make you angry, something's wrong with you. Deuteronomy 28:41, thou shalt beget sons and daughters, but thou shalt not enjoy them, but they shall go into captivity. CPS, DHS, that's straight up captivity. We already, in captivity, but when you send them to that, bro, it's a wrap. It is a wrap for them. All right, because the hell that they're going to endure is, you know, things that sexual abuse, whatever it may be. I know a lot of people that were sexually abused in the custody of the state, man, you know, and you can't get that back. You can't get that innocence back outside of somebody that was doing that in the household and they had to go to state custody. When you forcibly throw them into custody because you want to live your life and you tired and all this other shit, and this nigga, her boyfriend wasn't shit. Yeah, he wasn't finna sit up and keep putting up with 5 kids that wasn't his just to keep getting some of your nappy ass dug out. You know what I'm saying? Some of that cootie. You know what I'm saying? Nah, man. But you know what? He wasn't in for the long haul because guess what? You will randomly, well, we got like to call that from Corey Holcomb, that poor pussy management, man. Okay? Yeah, poor pussy management skills, and you gave that cat out to everybody, and now you in the situation that you in. Mind you, she was abused at 15, allegedly, and she had her first child from, being raped, or I guess it was an uncle or somebody in the household, allegedly. I don't know. But the rest of them ended up coming about with her sleeping around and being a hoe. And I say that because this is more times than not the situation in which we're facing, and you seeing that these women are ready to give up custody of their children and the state taking them, making it a lot easier because they want to get out here and they want to, be in these streets. In these streets, they want to get around and they want to do the things that make them happy instead of sticking to the duty when you bring that life forward. And that goes for men and women alike. Okay. It says Deuteronomy 28:45, moreover, all these curses shall come upon thee and shall pursue thee and overtake thee till thou be destroyed because thou hearken not unto the voice of Yahweh thy God to keep his commandments and his statutes, which he commanded thee. And that's the reason, the point blank of why this is happening in the first place, because we fell away from the Heavenly Father and his law, statutes, and commandments that was gifted to you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and natives as our customs. Therefore, we're susceptible to these curses. It says, and they shall be upon thee for a sign and for a wonder, and upon thy seed forever. And so what? That's what they call generational curses. That skips down to generation, right? You know, come on now. So when you talk about generational curses, it's really because we're not picking up all law, statutes, and commandments. And I'm not talking about going to church and Christianity and calling on Jesus. Okay, because we are Hebrew Israelites, and our law, statutes, and commandments are in the Old Testament and the New Testament and in the Apocrypha. This book is for us. And so when we don't gravitate towards it, we are susceptible to these curses. Deuteronomy 28:47, because thou servedest not Yahweh thy power with joyfulness and with gladness of heart, or the abundance of all things. Therefore shalt thou serve thine enemies, which Yahweh shall send against thee, in hunger and in thirst and in nakedness and in want of all things. Well, she's saying she don't have the money to do it. She got to get all these jobs and try to go to school. And like you said, how the fuck she find time to do all of that? Yeah, okay. She got to do what she got to do. School ain't part of it. Then you got two jobs. All right. Look, as a ward of the state, you might not want to be part of this system and getting the food stamps and all of this other stuff. You're trying to get out here and do your own. I get it, but you're in a situation that you place yourself in, and to try to take this way out, the easy way by taking them to CPS so you can go to school and work your jobs and do. I'm coming back for them. You know how many mothers say that when they go get a new boyfriend and getting popped off real good and forget all about them and start having more babies, you know? And he shall put a yoke of iron upon thy neck until he have destroyed thee. Slavery. Deuteronomy 28:54. So the man that is tender among you and very delicate, his eye shall be evil towards his brother, towards his wife, and of his bosom, and toward the remnant of his children, which he shall leave. Hey, them Pookies and them Ray Rays. And guess who y'all giving access to that box more than a humble, God-fearing man? These Pookies and these Ray Rays. It says that so these niggas is out here doing this, and this is biblical. The Lord said that they was going to do this. Why? Because they have not served the Lord. Then y'all looking at men that try to serve the Lord and that's actually out here. Y'all call them weak and simps and all this other shit and try to take advantage of them. And then you make them treat you like a Pookie and a Ray Ray. Because if you don't, that's the only ones that's getting played. You know, this world is all fucked up. Deuteronomy 28:56, the tender and delicate woman among you, which will not adventure to set the sole of her foot upon the ground for delicateness and tenderness. Her eyes shall be evil towards her husband, of her bosom, and towards her son, and towards her daughter. And she is a perfect example of that. Can't keep a man, and hell, don't have very good choice in men, apparently, because you a 5-time Luger. You know what I'm saying? And towards her young ones that cometh out from between her feet, and towards her children, which she shall bear, and she shall eat them for want of all things secretly in the siege and straightness wherewith thine enemy shall distress thee in thy gate. So trust and believe when shit get bad, all right, when poverty and famine come, when all this martial law and all these things, they will not hesitate to eat their children. If you will not hesitate to go and have your child killed because you don't want them anymore or give them up to the state. If you get hungry as hell on the starving, guess what you'll do? You'll eat your damn child. So all hell break loose, and the Lord, start bringing that MOTB in. That's gonna be a normal thing. You're gonna see mom cooking up their children. You know why? Because they did that in the ancient world, and history repeats itself. Isaiah 32:9. Rise up, ye women that are at ease. Hear my voice, ye careless daughters, and give ear unto my speech. Many days and years shall ye be troubled, ye careless women. For the vintage shall fail, the gathering shall not come. Tremble, ye women that are at ease, be troubled, ye careless ones. Strip you and make you bare, and gird sackcloth upon your loins, right, which is a state of mourning. They shall lament for the teats, for the pleasant fields, for the fruitful vine, right? Because y'all women right now are careless and at ease. and all you worry about is your happiness. I saw a video and a woman said, what did she say? He said, so what's more important, your family, raising up your family, or your happiness? And all these women chose their happiness. Like, god damn, dog. It's about duty, not happiness. Okay? Because happiness is a fleeting emotion that comes and goes. But you quickly throw away the things that the Most High gave you, the fruit of your womb, to be happy, though. This is for Psalms 82:5. It says, they know not, neither will they understand. They walk on in darkness. All the foundations of the earth are out of course. This whole place is out of order. I have said, this whole place is to the point where they want your children to be a ward of the state so they can sex traffic them. That's the newest thing, and giving them, letting them become transgenders, and then they're giving the children the right of consent, a child. They have consent on whether they want to let an adult have sex with them. These are the things that are coming in. These laws are being passed right now behind the scenes, and a lot of people don't recognize them because they don't know the legal jargon talk. Proverbs 17:6, children's children are the crown of old men, and the glory of children are their fathers. That's why they wanted to get them out of the household, because the glory of children are their fathers. Isaiah 30:2, that walk to go down into Egypt and have not asked at my mouth to strengthen themselves in the strength of Pharaoh and to trust in the shadow of Egypt. And this is present day Sodom, Egypt, Babylon, Rome, all wrapped up into one. Syria, all of it wrapped into one. You understand? So, like I said, they walk and they go down into Egypt and have not asked at my mouth. They didn't even seek the Lord. They just went down to the system, all right, to strengthen themselves in the strength of Pharaoh or the president, right? And trust in the shadow of Egypt, trust in the CPS in the system. Therefore, shall the strength of Pharaoh be a shame, and the trust, and the trust in the shadow, and the trust in the shadow of Egypt, your confusion. Right. Because at the end of the day, when you find out what's really going on, motherfuckers want to look all crazy and sad and confused and shit. No, it's too late. Jeremiah 31:22. How long wilt thou go about, O thou backsliding daughter? For Yahweh hath created a new thing in the earth. A woman shall compass, which means to go around a man. Right? So, since that happened, we ended up in this situation. We ended up with this Virginia situation, with this California situation, which will soon become an American situation all the way around, because the more that they come in and invade the household, the more rights that we brandish over, we hand over it so that they can continue that sink their claws into your children and to change the way they think and their genders. And oh my God, man. All right. That's a lesson for another day. Man, I pray you were edified, man. Let's keep going. Look, you have a duty with your children. Do what you got to do, man. Okay? And if it comes down to the point where you just, and even with a father in the house and that mom, you just can't tell them what to do. They in the streets and yeah, get them the fuck up out of there. But for the vast majority, this is not the case. Also, there's laws against young women that's committing whoredom in their father's households. They would be brought to the household of the doors, or the door of the households, and they would be burned. Either if there was a priest's daughter, they would be burned to death for committing whoredom in their father's house, or they would be stoned by everybody. You understand? That's how we kept shit from getting to this point. All right? You could say that's harsh or whatever, but the world was a better place then, contrary to popular belief. So with that, man, I pray you are edified. Till the next time I bid you shalom.